Welcome to the Mind Your Self Defense YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about mindset. That's why Mondays will be known as Mindset Mondays. And what it's designed to do is to give you guys some ideas that could help you change the way you think, that hopefully will make you safer or make you a harder target. I apologize if I look tired and unenergetic. Today is Sunday the 10th, and I went and I had to do some shooting qualifications for myself so I could take my instructor training to the next level. So it's been a long day at the range, and it's very hot in Southern California right now. I committed to dropping videos on Mondays and Wednesdays, so here I am holding up my commitment to you guys. So Mindset Monday. You're probably asking yourself, why is he talking about mindset? In my experience, I've noticed that mindset is more important than the physical stuff, especially when it relates to self-defense. People think that, oh, if someone attacks me, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. But what happens if the person doesn't participate in what you're trying to do, which most people won't do because they're going to resist against what you're trying to do? So we have to be able to make adjustments on the fly in self-defense situations. But if we don't think that way ahead of time, we are not going to be able to perform those actions at that time. This is why we have to train. There is a difference between training and practice. Training means you're learning something new. It could be one skill, it could be multiple skills, it could be a whole bunch of skills. Practice means that you're practicing what you just trained, what you just learned. Okay, so practicing is the act of making what you just learned into repetitive motion. That's where you pick up your speed and all your techniques are proper and all that. So test or practice slowly to make sure that you are doing it correctly, and the more you get reps in, the faster you will become naturally. So don't always go for speed. Understand, when you're practicing, practice with a purpose. What am I trying to learn in this practice? Normally it should be something that you just learned so you could get that ingrained in your head enough to where you don't need to ask the instructor anymore how to do the procedure. So this is stuff that people don't think about. Training is you actually learning a new technique. So let's use shooting, for example. You have a gun in a holster, and it's the first time you've ever drawn a gun from a holster. So you're training with an instructor to remove the firearm from the holster and get shots on target. So the instructor should break it down to you step by step, have you do it a couple times without the firearm, then have you do it with the firearm with no ammo, and then when you feel comfortable enough, put ammo in it and you do it. All right? Everything under the supervision of the instructor. So you fire your shots. Okay, you learn that, the day's over, you're going to go home. If he's a good instructor, he told you to dry fire. So then you go home and you dry fire practice what you just learned the next day or the day after, whatever. And you practice that till the next time you go to a shooting range so you could demonstrate it in live fire. So that's where your practice should be focusing about. What did I learn in training? Let me practice to get better at what I learned in training. And then the next time you go to a shooting range, if you have a friend or an instructor with you, or someone who's more an experienced shooter than you are, have them teach you something else, and you practice that afterwards. Okay? So what does that have to do with self-defense? We need to train ourselves so if we are stuck in a self-defense situation, we already have a general idea of what we're in instead of being in a world of crap and never having to deal with the world of crap in our lives before. Like I tell my students, the first time you get punched in the face should not be when your life is on the line. So when we train, if we are training empty hand and you spar someone and you get punched in the face, you learn how to process that information quicker. You're not going to get the oh crap moment, I just got punched in the face, where you start freezing reaction that most people would get if they've never been in a fight before. Okay, so people who have been in fights before, they're not afraid to get punched in the face. I'm not saying you should go out and get punched in the face. I'm just saying is that they could process the information more. If someone hits them, it's not going to be as shocking as someone who's never been hit before. Same thing with shooting. Someone who's never shot the firearm, as soon as they squeeze that trigger, they're going to have to deal with recoil and all the stuff that comes along with shooting, and they don't know how to process that compared to someone who is used to shooting firearms. We need to understand that we have to mentally prepare ourselves for a self-defense situation. One thing is, are you able to take someone's life if you have to? Are you able or capable of committing extreme violence on someone else? And a lot of us can't answer that question if you've never done anything like that. So if you're a veteran, military, you guys get basic training, and I'm a vet, so I get it. So we're wired a little different because we were trained that way. Even though, I was in the Navy, so I wasn't like Marines and Army guys. But I still went through basic boot camp. They train you for a reason. When you train for anything that has to do with self-defense, you're learning how to remain calm in a stressful situation or even a violent situation. Because once you start panicking and lose your crap or lose your mind, then nothing but bad crap is going to happen to you. And we don't want to do that. We want to keep our head so we can think about what we are doing while we are doing it. Or we could even think about what we're going to do 2 or 3 moves ahead of time. So we have to keep our rational brain. And that's what training does. And that's what practice on top of training does. Remember, training, you're learning something. Practice is you're actually going through the motion on your own, practicing what you learned. So we have to be able to ask ourselves a true, honest question, and don't BS yourself on the answer. Can I be extremely violent against somebody? Am I willing to take somebody's life? Because I have a lot of students, mainly females, that take my class, and they have a hard time just hitting pads when I tell them to get mean, get mad, hit really hard. A lot of times they half-ass it. They're not hitting that hard, and I know they could hit harder. And it takes time for me to pull that out of them and tell them, hey, you have permission to protect yourself. It is okay for you to defend yourself. And once they start getting that train of thought, then I see the aggression come out. And we need to, as human beings who are trying to defend ourselves in situations like that, is that we need to truly understand, are you capable of being violent against someone? You cannot be half-assing in a life and death situation. You have to be either 100% in, which means you are committed to the fight and you are committed to saving your life, or you are 100% out. So you're either trying to escape or you're submitting and you're giving up. Either way, you have to be 100% in or 100% out. And you have to know that going in to any situation. Hopefully you guys never have to find yourself in a situation like that. But you guys have to understand that if you do, you have to commit and fight for your life. Because in a lot of self-defense situations, second place can mean death, or kidnapping, or kidnapping that turns into sex trafficking. There's a lot of stuff that can happen. Just understand that you have to have the mindset ahead of that before you even engage in any of this kind of stuff. All right. To me, mindset is progressive. So there is like an order to it. So this is number one, is are you capable of being extremely violent against someone if your life is on the line? This is the first step. Then we'll get into more specifics next Monday. All right. So I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. If you don't, leave a comment. If you guys have a comment, question about anything, hey, send me a comment and we'll have a discussion about this. All right. I'm always open to new ideas. There's a lot of ways to do a lot of different things. So if you guys have a better that helps me, that will help others, then I'm open to hear it. All right. So I'll see you guys on Wednesday for a product review, and then next Monday on Mindset Mondays. Stay safe, and remember, only you can unleash your inner badass.